Hi Jaya.
Hi,
Hi
Ankita.
everyone. Hi everyone. So we are back. Very quickly because we've already had a little bit of an introduction. So my name is Antra. I'm from the marketing team at the Body Shop. Today we are talking about period poverty and how what the problem is in India. And we're talking about it today because it's 26th August. It's Women's Equality Day. Cry India is a key partner for us with regards to our cause of talking about period poverty and trying to make sure that there is more awareness on this. And how do we kind of get more people to talk about it? How do we raise awareness about it? How do we kind of really get people together and kind of start donating products, start talking about this issue. So I'm very happy to introduce to you Jaya Singh. Jaya is with us, and she is the Assistant General Manager of Development Support for CRY India. She is a veteran in this field, and we're going to have an interesting conversation today about this issue and how serious is it, how real is it, and what can we do about it. So, welcome, Jaya. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. We've had a
Thank
lot
you.
of technical
Thank you,
issues
Ankita.
today,
Yeah,
but
finally. Yeah.
yeah, finally, and it's the reality of working in quarantine, I think, at the end of the day.
True, true,
So
true.
Jaya, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, the work that you're doing with CRY, and specifically the work that CRY does with regards to period poverty, with menstrual hygiene and education and management.
Okay. To start with, I'm Jaya, as you've introduced me to the people who are seeing us. So, I've been with CRY for almost 15 years now, and in this sector for more than 20 years. So, I have experience of child rights, of various issues of child rights. So, like menstruation or period poverty and talks around it have been, I think it's very recent that even our sector or maybe people have started talking about it.
Yes, yes.
It's like, but even in CRY, I think we have taken up a lot of measures about talking about period poverty, about because we are associated with such children who are from the most marginalized groups. So the uh, period poverty thing is really the it's the most affected population is the one who are living in slums, who are there within small homes, who don't have access to toilets. So we are working with such kind of children
Right.
and adolescents. So while dealing with them as CRY, I think everybody who doesn't know about CRY, I would like to mention a few words about CRY. That CRY is an organization which is more than 40 years old now, and CRY works. The role of CRY is of an enabler between two major groups. One is the development organizations who are working for child rights at the
Right.
grassroots, and other are the people like you who are on the other side of the table, who are not directly working for children but are concerned or
Right.
want to be associated. So CRY acts as a bridge between the two, and in that acting as a bridge, what we do is we try to activate government services. We try to make government accountable of whatever promises they make, whatever things they say, and at the same time, whenever it's important, we try and give capacity building support to our field level workers, to the people who are actually working on ground, make them aware about their entitlements, about what kind of government entitlements are there for the
Right.
children and how they can be
Right.
taken by people.
Right.
Yeah, and we try to actually make them aware about their rights and make them competent enough to actually stand up and ask their rights. This is
Absolutely.
the major thing
Absolutely.
which CRY
Yeah,
does.
in
Yeah.
fact, I think one of the reasons why our partnership with CRY particularly has been in place is because we know that CRY is one of the most prestigious, one of the oldest child rights nonprofits working in the country. So that's something that is completely amazing. So coming to the topic that we're talking about today, I was just talking a little while back in terms of an introduction about how big a problem period poverty is in our country. There was some study, there were studies recently which said that 23 million Indian girls are dropping out of school every year because of period poverty, because they don't have access to products. Over 70% girls don't know, teenage girls don't know about menstruation until they have their first period. 70% of Indian mothers think periods are still something that is impure and dirty to talk about. So could you help us understand, especially with the context of Indian girls, like because you guys do work with children mainly, for Indian girls, like how real is this problem? How has this pandemic kind of made it worse? Because we understand that access has always been an issue.
While we are talking, we know that every day more than 800 million women and girls menstruate every day. Yet this topic is a really neglected topic and a really neglected development issue. There's a lot of stigma, taboo, and a lot of ignorance about this topic and around the harm, periods harm. This ignorance really harm women and girls every day.
Yes, the taboo, and, right? No one wants to talk about it.
Yes. And as you rightly said, around 70% or 71% of girls in India remain unaware of what is a period before they even experience it. The first time they experience it, then only they know that, okay, this is what a period is, and then they get sometimes there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of tension, and some girls, because periods start as early as 10, 11. So girls really become tensed, and it's a matter which really affects their entire mental psyche and all those things. And when we say what is period poverty, then I would just like to say in a sentence that why poverty is attached to it, because there is a financial necessity attached to periods, and how the periods can be made proper in that terms, that there is access to sanitary products, there is access to menstrual facilities, and also there is a proper access to waste management, or the whatever there is a waste
the
out
disposal,
of periods, that is also really, really important. So all those things in the long run incur a cost, and every household, the households where we are working, especially in our slums or in areas which are most marginalized, we know that most of the areas have common toilets for people. Most of the areas, people are working every day, and they are earning every day for their daily meals. So these things which these cause an additional cost factor for the family. So this turns out to be an expensive affair for many of the households. So that's why I think there's a lot of issue that people don't want to talk about it. People don't take it seriously. And while we talk about surveys, the most trusted survey in India, which is the National Family Health Survey. So the latest NFHS 4, which gives us a data of 2015-16, the data was published in 15-16. So it says that in entire India, only 57.6% women in the age group of 15 to 24 years use hygienic methods of protection during menstrual period. And when we move to rural India, this percentage goes even lower, which is around 48% only. So you can imagine that more than 50% of the population in rural India is not using even hygienic methods of protection during the menstrual period.
So I believe, Jay, I'm sorry to interject. So I believe the big problem is also that in terms of products, it's mostly cloth and rags and like
Yes,
leaves and
yes,
sand,
sand
etc., that girls are
and
using,
yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah,
ashes and husk sand and those
yeah,
things, which you just imagine how unhealthy and how this leads to a lot of infections and
mm-hmm.
lot of reproductive tract infections, and around
Yeah,
70% uh, uh, women who use these unhygienic products are subjected to the risk of RDIs. So
right.
it's like
It's a
really
it's a
really
it's a
dangerous.
it's a
Yeah.
it's a seriously vast problem, I think, especially for a country of our
Yes.
size.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
so I see a few people joining in. So just an update for anyone if you've just joined, we're talking about period poverty in India, and we are with Jaya from CRY, who is extremely experienced in the area. Now, coming to our questions, I think the next one that we'd really like to understand is that from we saw that our PM spoke about the issue in his Independence Day speech. There are a lot of policy and government kind of improvements that are happening with regards to low cost sanitary napkins, increasing access to this. So what do you what are your thoughts on what has happened in India, what is happening in India to progress on this so far, and what else do you think is needed right now?
Okay. See, the policies, when we talk about policies, there should be the policies must enforce for making all the menstrual products, sanitation and hygiene easily accessible and available for all the women and girls in the country. There has been lots of demands by activists, by people working on this issue to prioritize the need of making menstrual hygiene products maybe tax free or maybe much more easily accessible. So these are all things which have been in demand by people, but it's not that government has never thought about this issue. Many schemes and programs have been launched for taking care of the menstrual hygiene issue amongst girls and women. Like the when we talk about the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan,
Yeah.
then Swachh Bharat, Swachh Vidyalay was one of the thing which was specially launched keeping in mind the menstrual hygiene issue. And in this, there was a provision that every school in India should have functional and well-maintained wash facilities, toilets over there.
Yeah, yeah,
And then wash facilities should have soaps, private space for changing, adequate water, disposal facilities for used menstrual objects. So all these things have been put in place in the form of a policy or a campaign. But the thing is, like the Sabla scheme by Ministry of Women and Child Development, that also focuses on a lot of issues around reproductive and sexual health, around the menstrual hygiene thing. And the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare had launched a Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karikram, which is RKSK. So
interesting.
for
Yeah,
more details, I think people can visit the ministry sites. It's given out in details as to what
right.
the schemes say, but I'll tell in really a short two sentences that especially the RKSK schemes is for both the females and the girls, the males, or the
Hmm.
girls and the boys. And it's really important to include boys in this issue or in this in the conversation of this issue as well, because whenever the discussion happens around periods or menstruation, it's always amongst the girls. And
Mm-hmm.
the entire thing of taboo or the entire thing of being ashamed of this talking about this topic has to go away if we have to really give an equal position to the girls, if we really have to see girls, and the girls also have to see it as a natural phenomenon. The girls
Right,
don't have to see
right,
it as something which is really not normal, which is not natural. So this scheme really pays attention to including both girls and boys in the conversations, in making them understand various kinds of life skills, various kinds of discussions. So this is also an important scheme which the government has taken up. But still, there's a lot which
there's a
needs
lot
to
to
be
be
done.
done.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
the depoliticization of talking around menstruation that has really hindered the process of initiating changes in policy level.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
think, yes,
it's time to really acknowledge period poverty as a part of public health crisis across the country.
right,
So
right.
it's really high time.
Because
Yeah.
that's exactly what we were talking about a little while ago. That it is so that is so incredible that literally half the country's population is something it is facing it because of this this kind of cultural, this societal taboo that we have about talking about this topic. Something as basic as access to a menstrual product is something that girls in our country are not able to have. So it's quite disappointing, and it's so good to hear that it's a very valid point you've raised, that men and boys need to be part of this conversation as well, if we have to kind of really normalize menstruation. And I'm also seeing a lot of encouraging comments coming in about so many of our viewers agreeing, and I would highly encourage you to kind of put in your questions for us as well. While that happens, Jaya, another thing that I'd like to understand is, the big question is, what can we do? Because while of course governments, policymakers, etc., are doing what they need to do, how do we, for example, what can we do as a brand? What can brands do to kind of really help take this forward? Because at the end of the day, brands do have audiences. And secondly, what can we do as everyday people? What would you say is possible for our audience, our followers, anyone who's kind of interested in this conversation? What is it possible for us to do in our own
See,
in our own life?
when we are talking about this issue, this is the issue of every household, because whichever household has women, this issue will one day or the other be the issue of that household. So it's really important that we make this topic a topic of normal discussion within our households. We try to get rid of the prevailing taboos and myths surrounding menstruation, because it's not only a taboo, but there are many myths around this. The person should not go to a temple, the person should not touch a pickle, the person should not go to certain places in the house. So there's a lot of myths around this. So I think as a person, every individual has the role to really open up their minds, read more about it, have some scientific information about how and why menstruation happens. Because when you really read it scientifically, you will come to know that it's as pure blood as the blood
In the rest of
is
the
really
body.
getting it's flowing in our body. So this is not pure, the girl becomes impure during this period. So this is something which we have to take a step forward and understand that we have to get rid of these myths and taboos. And as normal people, it's really important that if we are the privileged class, then maybe we should have we should try and give something back to the society. We should try and maybe, like, the COVID period was really bad for these girls, because many people had lost their livelihoods. And I had a discussion with a lot of girls who said that they were using their own clothes, because they were not buying any new clothes. They were not allowed to buy sanitary napkins, so they had to cut their clothes to really use them during the lockdown periods. And they had to wash them, but they didn't have proper ways of how to sun dry that cloth and all those things. So they were sharing a lot of things. So I think like Body Shop did during the COVID time with Cry, that you had asked your customers to donate sanitary napkins, and that was a big help. We donated them back to the community. And then I think many brands join hand with Cry and take up their products in the category of cause related marketing. This is something in which whenever there is a sale of the product, then some small amount of each sale goes to charity or for the social cause. So it's people's also duty that if a brand is doing cause related marketing, then we also take a step forward and buy that brand, so that through this channel other people can be benefited. or maybe the cause can be handled. So as general people, I think talking about the issue, breaking myths, donating to the needy, and maybe buying more cause related marketing products is something which we should do.
Okay. Thanks a lot. In fact, I think, like you mentioned, talking about it, having a conversation about periods, having a conversation about menstruation being completely normal is a very key first step. I'm so glad that the products we collected were useful to your centers. Just a little correction for the viewers. So basically, the products that we collected were part of an employee drive, actually. So all our teams actually pitched in, and I was talking about how for many in across our offices, we all bought sanitary pads to kind of contribute, which eventually went towards the cry centers. And so for so many of our male colleagues, it was actually the first time they actually went to the pharmacy and bought pads themselves. So that is also it's also a key first step to kind of breaking down that restraint that you have in your mind. So just to kind of wrap it up, the last thing that is there any message that you'd like to share with our viewers now, or the people who will be checking the video out later? What is the one key message you would like to share with them that can help them kind of make a positive change towards addressing period poverty?
Yeah, one thing which I would like to say is that be it a woman or a man, a boy or a girl, everybody should try to understand that menstruation is normal. Talking about it is normal, because this is the key thing. Once we start talking, once we start understanding the issue, then only we can go into the nitty-gritties of how to handle this, what to advocate for, what are the problems. Then only we can actually understand the actual issue. We should really put that thing out of our mind that this is a girl's issue and this shouldn't be talked in public and all those things. So just clean up your minds, start talking amongst yourselves, start trying to understand what happens to a girl. Maybe there are many girls who really go through painful times in menstruation, and what happens when they are in need of medical treatment. Because of this lack of communication, the medical treatment is not given, and many girls fall into the trap of anemia. Many girls have many other issues as well, which not only affects themselves as adolescents, but then it stretches back in the long term. It goes up to the next generation also. So I think starting to talk about it, just breaking the myths and taboos, is one thing which I would feel that everybody listening here should start doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jaya. Thank you everyone who's joined us today. It's been the first time that we've talked about period poverty live on our channel, and this video will be posted on our feed for you to look at later if this is something. And you can definitely like, comment, send us more of your questions, kind of share the video if you feel someone else needs to see it. And thank you so much. The big learning that we have from today is that periods are normal. The only thing abnormal about periods and menstruation is the fact that we are all so afraid to talk about it, and it's been a great way to break that barrier. Thank you so much, Jaya. Thank you so much for all the work that you guys are doing, and we look forward to working together further on this. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.